The afternoon sun filtered through the dusty windows of Studio 3 at Golden Harvest, casting long shadows across the makeshift training area. Jackie Chan, barely 20 years old but already showing the boundless energy that would define his career, was in the middle of what he called practice. To anyone watching, it looked more like elaborate slapstick. "Yeah!" Jackie spun around, pretending to trip over a metal bucket while wielding a bamboo broom like a sword. He rolled dramatically, came up swinging the broom in wide arcs, then, accidentally, got it tangled in a hanging rope. The few crew members watching laughed as he performed an exaggerated face of surprise, as if the broom had betrayed him. "And then," Jackie muttered to himself in Cantonese, working through the choreography, "I grab the bucket, use it as a shield, spin around and—" He demonstrated, the bucket clanging against the broom handle in a rhythm that was almost musical. The laughter died suddenly. A presence had entered the room that seemed to pull all the oxygen from the air. Jackie felt it before he saw him, that unmistakable aura of controlled power that could only belong to one person. Bruce Lee stood in the doorway, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. He wore simple black pants and a white tank top that showed off his legendary physique. His dark eyes tracked Jackie's movements with the intensity of a hawk watching a mouse. Jackie froze mid-spin, the bucket still on his arm, the broom clutched awkwardly in his other hand. The few crew members quickly found reasons to be elsewhere, leaving the two martial artists alone in the suddenly too quiet studio. "Bruce, Mr. Lee," Jackie stammered, immediately bowing respectfully. His heart hammered against his ribs. Bruce Lee was already a legend, the man who had taken martial arts to Hollywood and made the world take notice. Jackie was just Jackie, a stuntman trying to find his place. Bruce walked forward with that characteristic fluid grace, each step deliberate and economical. He stopped about 6 feet away, his gaze shifting from Jackie to the scattered props. Buckets, brooms, mops, a wooden stool, some rope hanging from the ceiling. "What are you doing?" Bruce asked, his voice quiet but carrying absolute authority. "I'm practicing for a scene. It's supposed to be funny." "Stop clowning around," Bruce interrupted, his tone sharp enough to cut glass. "This is martial arts." The words hit Jackie like a physical blow, his face flushed with embarrassment and something that might have been anger. "I know it's martial arts," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'm just adding character to it." Bruce circled him slowly, like a predator evaluating prey. "Character? Or are you hiding behind comedy because you're afraid to show what you really can do?" Jackie's grip tightened on the broom handle. The question struck deeper than he expected. Was that what he was doing? Using humor as a shield because he was afraid he wasn't good enough to be taken seriously? "You think these objects make you weak?" Bruce gestured at the props. "You think because something makes people laugh, it can't be deadly?" "No, Show me." Bruce's voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of command. "Not comedy, not performance. Show me martial arts." Jackie felt his mouth go dry. "You want me to fight you?" A ghost of a smile flickered across Bruce's face. "I want you to defend yourself. Use whatever you want." He nodded at the props scattered around them. 3 minutes. If you can touch me once, just once, I'll admit that your clowning around has value." The challenge hung in the air between them like electricity before a storm. Jackie looked around at the props that moments ago had been his comedic partners. The bucket, the broom, the rope, the wooden stool. Could these everyday objects really work against Bruce Lee? The man who could snatch coins from people's palms before they could close their fingers? Who could punch fast enough to break boards before they started falling? But something stirred in Jackie's chest. Not just fear, though that was definitely there. Something else. A recognition that this moment would define everything that came after. Bruce Lee wasn't just challenging his fighting ability. He was challenging his entire approach to martial arts. Jackie set the bucket down carefully and gripped the broom with both hands, settling into a stance that was part traditional kung fu, part something uniquely his own. His mind raced, calculating angles, distances, possibilities. Bruce was faster, stronger, more experienced, but Jackie had spent years learning to use everything around him as a weapon or tool. 3 minutes, Bruce repeated, checking his watch. "Starting now." Bruce moved first, but not to attack. He simply shifted his weight, a subtle adjustment that somehow made him seem even more dangerous. Jackie's instinct screamed at him to move, and he did. swinging the broom in a wide horizontal arc that would have looked comical moments before, but now whistled through the air with genuine intent. Bruce ducked under it effortlessly, close enough that the bamboo bristles brushed the top of his hair. As he rose, he threw a lightning-fast jab toward Jackie's solar plexus. Jackie twisted away, using the broom handle to deflect the blow, the impact sending vibrations up his arms. The force behind that casual jab was incredible. "Good," Bruce said, his voice calm as if they were discussing the weather. But not enough. Jackie backpedaled, his mind working furiously. Direct confrontation wouldn't work. Bruce was too fast, too skilled. But the environment. Jackie's eyes darted around the room as Bruce advanced with the patient inevitability of a tide. The metal bucket was 3 steps to his left. The rope hung about 6 feet behind Bruce. The wooden stool sat near the corner. Jackie feinted right, then dove left, scooping up the bucket as he rolled. Bruce's kick whistled past his ear, close enough that Jackie felt the wind. Jackie came up swinging the bucket like a shield, using it to block Bruce's rapid-fire combination of punches. Each impact rang like a bell, but the bucket held. More importantly, it gave Jackie the split second he needed to hook the broom handle around Bruce's ankle. For just an instant, Bruce's perfect balance wavered. Jackie yanked hard, trying to sweep the leg, but Bruce transformed the stumble into a spinning back kick that sent the bucket flying from Jackie's hands. The metal rang against the concrete wall like a gong. "Better," Bruce acknowledged, landing in a perfect stance. "You're thinking now, not just reacting." Jackie felt sweat beading on his forehead. 1 minute gone, maybe less. Bruce wasn't even breathing hard, while Jackie could feel his heart racing. But something was happening. The fear was transforming into something else. Focus. The kind of clarity that came in moments of absolute necessity. Jackie grabbed the hanging rope and swung himself up and around, trying to use height and momentum to his advantage. Bruce moved to follow, but Jackie had anticipated this. At the peak of his swing, he released the rope and grabbed the beam above, using it to propel himself toward the corner where the wooden stool waited. He landed hard, rolled, and came up with the stool in his hands just as Bruce closed the distance. Bruce's punch aimed for Jackie's chest, but Jackie tilted the stool, letting the blow glance off the wooden seat while he pivoted around behind it. For a heartbeat, Bruce was on the wrong side of the improvised shield. Jackie struck with the stool's leg, a precise thrust aimed at Bruce's ribs. It should have connected, would have connected against anyone else. But Bruce Lee wasn't anyone else. He caught the stool leg in his palm, stopping it dead. The shock of the impact traveled up Jackie's arms, and he realized with crystal clarity that Bruce had let him get this close, had allowed him to set up this exchange. "You're learning," Bruce said, and there was something like approval in his voice. "But you're still thinking like a performer. Every move has to look good. In real fighting, ugly wins." With that, Bruce twisted the stool, using Jackie's own grip against him to pull him forward into what should have been a devastating knee strike. Jackie had perhaps a tenth of a second to react. Time slowed. Jackie saw the knee coming up, saw Bruce's eyes already tracking to where he expected Jackie to be when the blow landed. But instead of trying to pull back or block, Jackie did something completely unexpected. He went with the pull, driving himself forward even faster than Bruce intended. He released the stool, ducked under the knee, and continued his forward momentum into a shoulder roll that took him right between Bruce's legs. As he came up behind the legendary fighter, Jackie's hand shot out, fingers extended, aimed at the small of Bruce's back. Contact. For just an instant, Jackie's fingertips brushed the fabric of Bruce's tank top. Both men froze. The studio was dead silent except for the sound of Jackie's labored breathing. Bruce looked down at his watch, then slowly turned around. His expression was unreadable. 2 minutes, 47 seconds, he said quietly. Jackie was on his knees, gasping. He'd poured everything into that last exchange. All his speed, all his creativity, all his willingness to look foolish if it meant survival. His GI was soaked with sweat, and his legs felt like jelly. Bruce walked over to where the broom lay abandoned on the floor and picked it up, testing its weight and balance. "Do you know what just happened?" he asked. Jackie struggled to his feet. I touched you?" "No." Bruce's eyes met his. "You stopped being afraid of looking stupid. You stopped trying to impress anyone. You just fought." Bruce set the broom aside and faced Jackie directly. The intensity in his eyes had softened, replaced by something that might have been respect. "That last move, going with my pull instead of fighting it, That was pure instinct. No choreography, no comedy timing. Just survival. Jackie wiped the sweat from his forehead, still trying to process what had just happened. His entire body ached, but his mind felt strangely clear, as if fog had lifted from his thoughts. "But I was using comedy before," Jackie said, confused. "The bucket, the broom movements. Were you?" Bruce picked up the bucket and tossed it gently to Jackie, who caught it automatically. "Or were you using tools?" The laughter was just what people saw on the surface. Understanding began to dawn. Jackie looked at the bucket in his hands, really looked at it. It wasn't a prop or a sight gag. It was a shield, a projectile, a distraction, a weapon. The comedy hadn't diminished its effectiveness. It had hidden it. Bruce continued, "When you made people laugh with that broom, what were you really showing them? That anything can be a weapon if you understand it?" "Exactly. And when they laugh, they stop seeing you as a threat. They underestimate you." Bruce's smile was sharp now, predatory. "That's not weakness, Jackie. That's strategy." Jackie felt something shift inside his chest, like puzzle pieces clicking into place. All these years he thought he was being frivolous, unserious. But what if he'd been developing something else entirely? A fighting style that used misdirection and psychology as much as physical technique? "The greatest fighters," Bruce said, beginning to pace around the scattered props, "understand that martial arts isn't just about technique. It's about understanding your enemy, your environment, yourself. Making people laugh doesn't make you weak. It makes you unpredictable." He stopped in front of Jackie. "But you have to believe in it. You have to commit to it completely. No half measures, no apologizing for who you are." Bruce's voice took on an edge of steel. "If you're going to be a comedian fighter, then be the best comedian fighter who ever lived. Make them laugh so hard they forget to defend themselves." Jackie straightened, feeling something like electricity running through his veins. For the first time in years, he could see a path forward that didn't require him to choose between who he was and who he thought he should be. "The touch you made," Bruce said, "that wasn't because you got serious and stopped being funny. It was because you finally integrated everything you are into one moment. The comedy training gave you unconventional angles. The stunt work gave you body awareness. The martial arts gave you precision. When you stopped trying to be someone else, you became dangerous." Bruce moved to leave, then paused at the door. "One more thing, Jackie. Tonight, go home and watch yourself in the mirror. Not practicing, just being yourself. See what I saw today. See what the world will see when you stop hiding behind the idea that entertainment and excellence are opposites." Alone in the studio, Jackie stood surrounded by the props that had become his teachers. The bucket that had taught him about improvised defense. The broom that had shown him how to extend his reach and disguise his attacks. The rope that had given him new dimensions to work in. The stool that had become shield, weapon, and platform all in one fight. But more than that, he understood now why Bruce had chosen this moment, this confrontation. It wasn't about proving Jackie could fight. Bruce had known that already. It was about forcing Jackie to stop apologizing for his instincts, to stop seeing his natural creativity as something that needed to be overcome. Years later, when Jackie Chan would become a global superstar, when his unique blend of martial arts and comedy would revolutionize action cinema, he would trace it all back to this afternoon. To the moment when Bruce Lee had challenged him not to abandon his humor, but to weaponize it. The lesson would echo through every rooftop chase, every improvised weapon, every moment when Jackie would make audiences around the world laugh and gasp simultaneously. Comedy wasn't the opposite of danger. It was just another tool in the arsenal, as valuable as any kick or punch. Jackie picked up the broom one more time, but now he saw it differently. Not as a prop in his comedy act, but as an extension of himself. As he began to move through a new sequence, there was still humor in it, but now it was humor with purpose, with precision, with the absolute confidence that came from knowing exactly who he was and what he was capable of. In the fading light of the studio, Jackie Chan was no longer just a stuntman trying to find his place. He was becoming legend,